hell of a lot of this ambiguity because
Yeah, well,
it's clear, and all of a sudden they're much more accountable than they are at the moment because at the moment they
yeah,
can make a shit decision and we can
it's
be
all
up in arms.
covered up.
Oh, yeah, but we go, blah blah blah. I was not happy,
Yeah,
and then you get ex-referees going. Well, actually, I
yeah,
don't understand how that happened, but there's no accountability because that
yeah,
referee, unless someone says that is such a horrendous fucking mistake, and Wiley, or I can't remember what his name is, the one that runs the whole thing, something Wiley, and he goes, well,
oh
actually,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so much noise, I'm going to have to remove you from the roster for the following
yeah,
set of games.
yeah.
There's no repercussions. They just go on and they carry on making
They do.
perpetuating the mistakes and
Yeah,
or mistakes and bad decisions, no accountability. So
I know, I know.
yeah, very very frustrating. But overall, without dwelling on that decision like we have for about
Yep.
10 minutes,
Yeah,
not dwelling
too
on it
long.
too long,
Far too long. Yeah,
dwelling on
yeah.
too long. So I mean, as you say, I mean, it was an odd lineup, and overall, Chelsea probably dominated the game in terms of possession. Well, they did in terms of possession. I think they had like 60% possession compared to our 30
They
percent
did. Yeah,
possession.
I didn't think Chelsea played particularly well, and I felt that we probably should have had a go at them. To be honest with you, um, the Ziyech goal was was the worst one
Annoying.
to concede
It was
because
annoying.
we just didn't come out and block that shot
Yeah.
at all.
So
And if you let someone like that with a wand of a left foot,
yeah,
he's gonna have a go, isn't he?
because I think he had
So
he had an opportunity in the first half,
yeah,
and Højbjerg got there quickly and was able to close that down. And
yeah,
for the goal, Sessegnon just sort of stands there. Now, I
he
don't know who
backs
it was,
off.
but
Yeah,
yeah, someone makes a run across the back of Sessegnon, and
yeah, might have
he kind of
distracted him.
and
Yeah,
he kind of thinks, well, like, I need to
I've got a runner.
stop
Yeah,
stop the pass, but
yeah,
he needed to get out there really and try and block the shot because as the ball
absolutely.
goes out wide, Davis should really should have taken the run because Davis was behind.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
needs to tell Sessegnon get out there and block that shot.
yeah, yeah.
So
Agree,
great
agree.
finish, really frustrating. And I just wanted to pick up on like a couple of points that you made earlier about Chelsea. So you said they didn't play very well. They didn't play very well overall, but
Yeah,
they, they're a wizened team. And you talk about Jorginho against, say, for example, in his frame against Winks. And
mm,
Jorginho, I don't. I think he did get booked eventually, but the amount of fouls that he
yeah,
does, the little tags
yeah,
that he does, little knocks, little
yeah.
flicks, little
They are clever.
that yeah that he does before
Yeah, yeah,
before the referee books him, and the amount of promising attacks that that their players break up with little niggly fouls and
yep,
stuff, and
yep.
which they just smile and get away with, and then as soon as the referee makes a decision, they crowd him. I think I discussed this
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
Carabao Cup semi-final game where they were very very tactical in their approach.
mm,
So
yeah.
and that's a part of you know the game that Winks needs to really develop if he wants to kind of get to
It is. Yeah.
contributing.
You Man City do this every week. They do these
Yeah,
little fouls all over the pitch to stop you playing,
yeah,
and yeah, it's really important to them. If they didn't do it, they'd be opened up a lot more.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
yeah,
It's key. It's key to be able to do it, be prepared to do it, and get away with it. And when your defensive philosophy is to be, to because they defend with risk. Really,
yeah,
they're virtually 1v1. I think they showed the I know it's a Liverpool game where Liverpool's similar, and they'll do the fouls
yeah,
as well because
yeah, yeah,
they play a high line. Man City play a high line and they'll defend 1v1. Chelsea defend 1v1 as well.
yeah,
So it relies on not allowing the opposition to get in at their defence and overload the defence in that area. And it means that the
yeah.
midfielders will have to
Exactly.
do those
I, th-
tactical fouls.
I think the other problem as well is we've got inexperienced players like Tanganga playing, so when Tanganga tries to do a tactical or technical foul, he's he, he just plows in all limbs
Yeah,
firing, and he gets a yellow card straight away. So his
grappling
game
at
is
the person.
completely
Yeah,
knackered.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's just,
he's got to
it's,
learn.
yeah. He
Yeah.
needs to be a bit subtle. So, but like one of the things that surprised me, I think, like last night when I watched the highlights, and again today, is that having had Dyer back in the side and going with a four at the back of the two centre backs that were switched around, it was Sanchez that was played on the left
wasn't
of
he?
the four rather
Yeah.
than Dyer.
Yeah.
And
That's weird.
I've maintained for a long time that Sanchez. I mean, you don't move him out of position unless you have to. So as soon as
No, I
Dyer's
agree.
available, I thought
I agree.
he should go back to the right.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I thought Dyer should play on the left because Dyer's got a left foot as well. So
Yeah,
there's that. Sanchez doesn't have a left foot, so I don't know why. The whole thing was all a bit weird. I just didn't enjoy the game at all. Not because we were losing. I just felt this is just totally different to the Leicester game. We haven't tried to impose ourselves on Chelsea hardly at all. I think early on we were trying to, but Chelsea were dealing with it too easily.
but
And
it's got to be a mindset thing, though, Andy, because
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
after a while, and as you say, when Mora came on and Skip came on, we we seemed to get more of a foothold in the game, albeit too late. But before that, there were a lot of time when we had the ball, we kept turning over possession. Every time we tried to play forward, we played forward in and over, played over Kane's head, for example, or
yeah,
played down the line into no one, or trying to play inside, and
yeah,
rather than playing into that player's feet or for that player to run onto, it was just beyond the stretch of where that player was. It was the quality just isn't there, and in the
yeah.
final third, our decision making in the final third wasn't really good as well. And
Yeah.
it's got is that mindset that's got to be like just because they think that we're not as good as Chelsea. I think I can't work it out because we 100
Yeah,
times
I
better
think it
against
is.
Leicester.
I think it is a bit of that. Yeah, it's very hard to put your finger on it. I think, I think, as you said earlier, we've played 10 games under Conte. This is the first one we've lost. We still have a really good chance of getting top four if we get our act together. And we should probably just put this behind us and just say, we kind of expected this to happen, as horrible as it is.
So playing, yeah, I mean, so playing devil's advocate. Having said all that, I mean, we have played Chelsea 3 times in the
Yeah,
last month and lost comfortably to them every single time.
every
And
time. Yeah.
we've still got some top teams to play. So I know
Yes.
everyone like is it an overreaction? Is it an overreaction that we've been seeing on Twitter, or is it just as you say, put it behind us, move on? Hopefully we'll get we've got a week to get some replacements in. We might have 2 weeks as well of time to work on the players that might
Yeah, I
help
think
out.
I think those 2 weeks are going to act a bit like a mini pre-season for Conte, and I think he needs that in what he does. So so that's probably as good as getting new players in a way, because he's going to be able to build things on with players that he actually wants, because now he knows the ones he doesn't want. If you're Ndombele, Lo Celso, or Delhi, you're not wanted anymore. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to reintegrate those back in. And I guess this window is going to be all about trying to get rid of those three and getting Adama in. I would say that's probably it. But who knows? Maybe something else is going to happen. But going back to what you were saying about the overreaction on Twitter, well, yeah, that happens quite a lot. But during a transfer window, we haven't signed anybody. It's just a spark for the gunpowder, isn't it? It's just going to fire off every time.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted
I'm as guilty as that.
you wanted to delve into that a little bit deeper. I think because
Yeah,
it's the final week of the transfer window. and we haven't done any business, even really getting people out. Even if we got people out, we haven't even managed to achieve that.
I mean, getting players out of your club is really hard because they're under contract and they don't necessarily want to leave. Just for the sake of leaving, and you've got to find somewhere for them to go. You've got to find a buyer, so it's not very easy. But what I'm a bit concerned about is how we're running transfers still. So does that mean that Levy is still involved in the minutiae, or is he delegating it wholly to Paratici and saying, this is the budget, you just deal with things within that budget? And if he's doing the latter, I think that is the way to go. If he's doing the former, that worries me.
But we do. See, the thing is, we don't know. And I saw a Twitter exchange a little earlier, and they were going on about it. Blah blah blah. We've not signed anyone, and blah, and they're going, Pratt in Levy, and he shouldn't be. And someone went, well, you don't know, and then you don't know what's going on. Lads, I found Levy's burner account, and then someone else went, look, you have no clue. We have no one has any idea as to what's going on. We just don't know. We assume the hallmarks and all of the hallmarks of the makeup of this transfer window and the patterns that we're seeing in terms of activity and everything would lead us to think that Levy still has a significant hand involved in what happens, but we don't know. We can't. Well, we will jump to conclusions, but people are jumping to conclusions just because it suits their agenda to say, well, actually, it's got to be Levy. I don't like Levy anyway. So the fact that we haven't done any business, I'm glad. This is definitely Levy, but we just don't know, and we'll never.
It's just
we'll
confirmation
never
bias. That's all.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's exactly right.
And the thing is, even if you get someone in January, it doesn't mean they're actually going to hit the ground running and necessarily make you a better team, because they're still going to be integrated into the way.
Well, it depends who it is, doesn't it? It depends who it is. So if you buy a Premier League player, no matter how shit that player is perceived to be, they're more likely to hit the ground running than someone coming a better player from a European league, because they're used to the physicality of it, everything. They're used to the whole setup and structure of the Premier League. So that's well, in my opinion, that's how it goes. So we could still do that, and we're not the only club. I know obviously we only really care about Spurs, but we're not really the only club that is is going through this. I think probably only Newcastle and maybe Villa have significantly in this transfer window early.
When you look at Villa are quite close to the bottom. They needed to do something. Gerrard, new manager, has the idea of bringing Coutinho in. It could be a good decision. I don't know, but
it's a good decision.
Yeah,
so it's a good decision.
Yeah. So I mean, Coutinho was doing nothing at Barca, so he was available. So why not? And Digne, strangely, Everton wanted to sell, because their manager didn't like him, and then they sacked the manager.
And then they sacked the manager. I mean, Digne was like, I don't want to necessarily go, and blah blah blah, and then they sacked the manager. Poor Digne says he didn't want to go, out of favour with the manager. He gets sacked, goes back the following day, effectively. The next match, very next match, he goes back and gets fucking booed and pelted with bottles, and it's like. The manager was shit. The manager was shit. I mean, he's gone. It's not my fault. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. You couldn't make it up. So
no, you couldn't. No, but Everton are a box of bloody frogs at the moment, aren't they? So mad club at the moment.
So anyway, so in terms of the transfers, I mean, you've mentioned them already, but Lo Celso and Dembele, it looks like we're trying to get rid of